Everybody, JC here with another T&I toy review, and today's review is in association with MarvelousNews.com, your #1 news source for everything Marvel. And for today's review, we're going to take a look at the new 6-inch Marvel Legends Spider-Man Villains of the Night Jack-O-Lantern figure from Hasbro. Now this figure comes packaged in the new style of Marvel Legends packaging that we're seeing for 2016. You've got the Build-A-Figure Absorbing Man logo up top, you've got that Legends series logo, and then the figure clearly displayed in the window box packaging. Down below we have the Marvel Spider-Man logo, and then this figure is listed as Villains of the Night because it shares the same listing as the Morbius figure. So on one side we have artwork for Morbius, and the other side we have artwork for Jack-O-Lantern. Then on the back we have images of both figures, a brief bio, and then down below we have a look at all the figures in the Absorbing Man Build-A-Figure wave. Okay, so let's get this open and take a look at what's inside. Here's a look at the figure outside the packaging along with the figure's accessories. So first let's take a look at what comes with this figure. We get the left leg for the Absorbing Man with this one, and it's just purple with the black stripes and the black boot. Now we'll take a closer look at the Absorbing Man in full once we have all the figures open and done reviews for the entire wave. So this will be, Absorbing Man will be the final review we do for this wave. So check back for that. So besides that, the figure also comes with the sickle that he uses, and this is pretty nice detailing. You've got some washwork on the metal to give it some added detail, and then you've got the brown strappings on the handle for that leather look. You also have this extra handle with also with some brown strappings, and you know, this is actually sculpted, so it looks like it's really leather strappings on the handle. So I like the detailing on this sickle. You get a translucent orange pumpkin bomb, and again I like the translucent plastic they use with these and the flames that kind of stick out and everything, so I think that looks good. And then he's got this broomstick that I guess he flies around on now. He used to have a pogo glider, but I guess he's upgraded to this flaming broomstick. So the back of the broomstick is done with that translucent orange plastic, and then the front part is done with brown, which has got some sculpting in it to give it the look of wood, which I like. You've also got this extra metal piece around with some rivets and stuff to give it that metal look, and again a little bit of done with metallic silver. And same with the handle, metallic silver. So I like the look, and then he's got these little plastic pieces that stick out, so I guess you can put his feet against it. So the broomstick to me is kind of corny. I prefer his old pogo glider, but I guess it looks pretty good as far as what it looked like in the comics and everything. So no real complaints there. And even though the hands are sculpted open on the figure, because they've put those extra handles on both the sickle and the broom, you know, you can basically stick it in between the fingers so that he holds both without any problem. And then as far as the pumpkin bomb goes, you can just set it in his hand. As getting him to ride his broomstick, basically you just have to stick his hand in the handle, and then you kind of have to just lay his legs into these little pieces of plastic that stick out the side. At least that's the best way I've been able to come up with. So he kind of holds it, so you know, it's almost like just holding it, and then you just lay it against it. So it seems to work okay. Now one thing it would have been nice is if he could do his head up more. You can kind of do it at the midsection, but his head doesn't really move back at all. So I don't know. Again, I'm not a huge fan of this whole broomstick thing, but there you go. Okay, so for the figure itself, I really like the head sculpt on this one. I was really impressed with it when I first saw it at San Diego Comic-Con. I think they've done a really nice job with the sculpting of it. I like the detail with the flames, which are done with an orange translucent plastic, especially the ones that are coming out of his eyes. I think that looks really good. I like how they've cut out the eyes on the pumpkin, and then you have the yellow on the inner part of the head to give it that added effect. And I like the washwork on the pumpkin as well, and you have the little pumpkin stem up at the top and the line sculpted in the pumpkin. So it definitely looks like an actual pumpkin for his head. And then the flames, I think, come off looking really good with that translucent plastic. Now as far as the rest of the figure goes, I don't think this is a reuse of an existing sculpt, at least not one that I recognize. I could be wrong, so I won't say 100% this is a new sculpt, but for the most part it seems pretty original to me. If I'm wrong on that and you recognize this sculpt, please chime in and let me know. But again, as far as I can tell, I don't recall this sculpt being used previously. So you've got the harness of the upper part of the costume is actually sculpted on the upper body. Yeah, I like the ridge work they've sculpted in on the shoulder pads. That's nice detailing there. It's just done with a brown plastic. Paint applications are pretty simple. You've got the brown, light kind of brown color for the harness and the belt and everything, and then a very dark green for most of the rest of the costume, and then you've got some brown sculpted throughout as well. The paint detail is really nice on the head, but the rest of the figure is basically, pretty basic paint applications. No paint, serious paint blemishes or anything. So overall, I think the figure looks good. And you also have some silver metallic paint for like the zippers and the belt buckles and stuff. So I think all that looks good. I like the pouches that are sculpted on the side of this harness piece. The belt is a separate piece on the figure, but it's not removable, but it is a separate piece. I also like how they've sculpted on the belt these pumpkin bombs, which I think look pretty good. Not super detailed, but detailed enough that you can tell that they're pumpkins and everything. And then I also like on the boots, they've sculpted on these, for the brown pieces, they've actually sculpted these on. They're not just painted. And same with the gloves. You got this, at the end of the gloves, you got this part that kind of sticks out, and it's actually a sculpted piece. So I like the detailing on the gloves and the boots. And I also like the fingers. I think the fingers came out looking good, kind of scrawny, like, skeletal almost like. So I think, both hands are basically sculpted where they're open. But I really like the look of the fingers on this figure. Real quick, here's just a quick comparison between the old Toy Biz Jack-o'-lantern and the new one. And I like both of these figures. I think both look good. This Toy Biz one has a more classic look for the character, so different costumes and everything. I like the head sculpt on this old one, but I think the new one looks better, looks more like a pumpkin. I like the flame effects. I think they look better on this new one than on the Toy Biz one. This one, I like the facial expression a little more, and I kind of like how they did the mouth and eyes. But again, overall, I like this new head sculpt a lot. So, I think both figures are great, but I do like this upgrade to the figure. Now, the one thing I don't, as I mentioned before about this new figure, is I don't like the whole broomstick thing. I prefer the old glider. So I realize this isn't what the modern version uses, but if you have that old Toy Biz one, certainly this glider will work with this new figure. So this figure stands, if you count to the top of his head, is about 6 1/4 inches tall. Now if you count to the tip of his flames on his head, then it's actually a little bit over 7 inches. Here he is next to Spider-Man. The figures themselves are about the same height, with the flames though Jack-o'-lantern is taller. Okay, so the figure's got pretty decent articulation. Head's on a ball joint so he can look left and he can look right, and he's got a hinge on the neck so he can look down, but because of the flames on the back, you can't really look back, as I mentioned before. Arms are attached with standard ball hinge joints at the shoulder so he can get his arm out good, and he's got pretty good rotation there at the arm. Now you get that kind of clicky noise there in the shoulder joint. He's got a bicep swivel. He's got a double hinged elbow, so he's got good bending at the elbow. He does have the gummy joint syndrome, the soft joints with this one. It's not too bad, but he definitely has kind of soft joints there, especially in the shoulder or in the elbows and the knees. He's got a swivel at the glove cuff, but no hinges on the hands. He's got a midsection ab crunch, so he can crunch down good, and he can look back pretty good. He's got a waist swivel. Legs are attached with ball hinge joints, so he can do the splits pretty good. He can get his leg forward pretty good, and he can do his leg out and back. He's got a thigh swivel really high up near the ball joint. He's got the double hinged knee, so he's got good bending at the knee. He does have hinges on the foot, but really doesn't have a whole lot of up or down movement with the foot, but does have ankle pivot and 2 peg holes on the bottom of his feet. Okay, so that's my review. Overall, I like this figure. I like the detailing, especially with the head sculpt. I really like this new head sculpt on Jack-o'-lantern. I think the body overall looks good. I mean, it's very kind of scrawny type body, but that fits the character. I like the hands and everything. Articulation is pretty decent and good accessories. I don't really like the broomstick, but, that's what he uses nowadays, so, I understand them including that. I think I'll give my figure the pogo glider from the old Toy Biz one, but again, the broomstick's not too bad, and it is what he's using nowadays in the comics. So this figure is out now along with the rest of the Absorbing Man Build-A-Figure wave, at least online. You can get it. It's in stock now at Big Bad Toy Store. I'll have a link in the description below for that. I have not yet heard it hitting retail shelves yet, but it should be any day now. We'll have a full gallery of images of this figure up at marvelousnews.com. There's a link in the description below for that. And as always, leave a comment. Let us know what you think. If you're so inclined, please like the video. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. And until next time, I'll catch you later.